Maybe I'm crazy, but I think there's a cult situation in Houston, like legitimate, like with like cloaks, like.
Maybe I'm crazy, maybe I'm not.
Welcome to Maybe I'm Crazy podcast. I'm Joy Taylor. Thanks so much for joining us this week. We'll talk to ASHLEY NICOLE MOSS. She's amazing. She is an iHeartRadio host and host of Knicks Fan TV. We'll talk a little DESHAUN Watson, as I mentioned, a little cult situation there, a little KYRIE, KD, James Harden with the Nets, Wentz, Brees, some other stuff around the league. Also, we'll have the Crazy Gang here, so we'll check in with Donnie, Heller, and T, and get you ready for the championship games this weekend. Mahomes, Josh Allen, Brady, Rodgers. What a weekend it's going to be. Hopefully Mahomes will play. But let's get started with ASHLEY NICOLE MOSS. All right, very excited to have my friend ASHLEY NICOLE MOSS on the Maybe I'm Crazy podcast. You can check Ash out on iHeartRadio and Knicks Fan TV. Thanks so much for jumping on with us. It was a crazy NBA night, a lot of good games, but we watched the Nets beat the Bucks in a very exciting one. And KYRIE was not out there. What are you thinking about how the Nets are looking without KYRIE?
I'm nervous because they look good. They look really good, and they look good without him. And, you know, I played basketball, and I think you hooped a little bit too. So you know that only one person can really be in charge of handling that ball. And right now it's James Harden. He does his best basketball. He plays his best basketball, rather, when he has that ball in his hand. So when KYRIE gets back, and that was Kyrie's position before Harden joined the team, I don't know how they're going to figure it out, because Kyrie's not going to be okay not having that ball in his hand, and he's not going to be okay just getting 10 points a game. So someone's going to have to take a back seat. It's not going to be KD. So it's either got to be Harden or KYRIE. I don't know who it's going to be. I mean, KD's already shown that he's an unselfish player, that he can be an unselfish player. You need one more. You need one more unselfish player, and I just don't know who it's going to be. So it's going to be the battle of the unselfishness, if you will.
I agree. I think that they look great without him. I like KYRIE personally. I think he's a great player. I also think he does a lot of things off the court that people don't necessarily know about. He's not a big publicity guy when it comes to like charity work and things that he does. But I will say, I don't like the whole absence from the team, not telling Steve Nash where he is. I didn't like how he started the season, calling the media pawns. Look, I'm a media nerd. I don't care if you don't like the media. It's not going to hurt my feelings. Life will go on. The media will go on. The league will go on. We will all continue. You can have that opinion if you want to, which he's since apologized for, and it's whatever. I don't like you being away, and then we find out that you were at a family member's birthday party during a pandemic, mask or not. You know what the protocols are. You guys are different than everybody else. Other people are still celebrating birthdays. Other people are still doing things with their lives. You play NBA basketball, you know what the rules are, and you're saying you just like need some time away. The season just started.
I mean, I have like a 50-50 relationship with it. I totally disagree with the partying. And I was, critical of James Harden for doing the same thing when he was out with the baby in LA or Houston or wherever he was. KYRIE has been vocal about his mental health and how important mental health is. I mean, he saged, the TD Garden before they played there. You can see that he's a very spiritual person. He's probably a very sensitive person. That's always been a rumor about KYRIE. That's always been his reputation. So I'm all for players, if they need mental health days, taking them. But just like you said, the season did just start. It is a shortened season. So exactly he didn't go into the bubble. So you didn't have that strain and then coming back, a quick turnaround. So I guess I'm curious, just like everybody else, exactly what is it that is so draining to you that you needed to take multiple games off? One is no big deal. He missed like 5 games already, 7 games, I think. So it sends a message like, are you a prima donna? What is it? But I'm really hoping, like you said, he apologized for it. That's all you can ever ask for somebody, is to own up to their mistakes or, their absences and move forward. And Wednesday is going to be his opportunity to do that. So,
yeah, I'm interested to see how they look together. I think that it's going to come down to roles because, as you mentioned, everybody can't have the ball in their hands at the same time. To me, KD is the unquestioned leader. He's also the proven one. Obviously, KYRIE has a championship, but you did that with LeBron. And you haven't had any success since then.
Yeah.
If we're just being honest, like these are facts. It might not be comfortable facts, but they are the reality. KD beat LeBron and won 2 championships and 2 finals MVPs. So this is KD's team to me. And then it goes down from there. Harden just got here. He's looking like he's fitting right in. So it's really on Kyrie to me, if he wants to stay in Brooklyn, how he's going to approach the rest of the season. And I'm with you on all, like, maybe he is sensitive. Listen, I stage my apartment a couple times a week. Like there's a lot of energy going on. Okay. Like I'm with you, but I still go to work. And if I can't make work for any personal reason, I'm going to let my boss know why I can't be there, because me not showing up at work affects a lot of people. And that's part of being an adult and part of being a professional. And so I don't really like getting into the space where it's like, well, it's just Kyrie, like, but you're not Michael Jordan, but you're not Dennis Rodman. But this is not the 90s. Like you need to be at work. And if you're not going to be at work, people are going to question if you like playing basketball that much. And it is a legitimate question. Nobody's saying Kyrie's not a good person. Nobody's saying Kyrie is, a bad person away from the court. But we're talking about, this is a profession and you're not there and you're not being professional about you not being there.
Yeah, I mean, that is a question. Kyrie's been very vocal about his dedication to social injustice and fighting for it and fighting against it, rather. And I respect that. I'm all for that. And a list came out a couple hours ago of all the things Kyrie has done. I mean, most recently buying George Floyd's family a house. So, I mean, Kyrie is about that action when it comes to off the court, but the two are not separate. You can be both. You can be a great athlete and a great activist. And I think Kyrie may be taking it to the extreme. Like he can't be both. He can't focus on both. And that would be a problem, because if this is the team that everyone has to be the favorites to go to the finals, which it is, if you want to be part of this team, you have to show that you can, walk and chew gum at the same time. And right now it's kind of looking like he can only focus on one thing at a time. So Wednesday is going to be a big telling sign if he's able to be a beneficial part of this team, because I think if the season progresses and they get closer and closer to that trade deadline and Kyrie's not doing what Kyrie needs to do, I wouldn't be surprised if you see one more movement from the Brooklyn Nets. I wouldn't be surprised. It wouldn't be far-fetched to me at all.
No, I wouldn't be surprised either, especially the way that it's gone the past couple weeks with Kyrie. Obviously, it would be better to have Kyrie, James Harden, and Kevin Durant. We all know what talent is. We work in a talent business. But at the end of the day, it's also got to be chemistry, and you can't be a constant story on top of having a new coach, on top of adding James Harden, on top of bringing Kevin Durant back, who hasn't played basketball in a while, albeit looking amazing. There's a lot of moving parts there. Speaking of moving parts, DESHAUN WATSON, who I am a big fan of, is unhappy, rightfully so, in Houston. I hate the Houston situation for DESHAUN WATSON. I want to see him in a situation where he can thrive. It's very dysfunctional there. Now you've got these stories of this like chaplain who runs team personnel. They've got some sort of like weird Handmaid's Tale thing going on down there, which I am not comfortable with at all. You have former players coming out talking about it. So he hasn't officially said he wants to trade yet, but it seems like for the most part, the public is on DESHAUN WATSON's side. What do you think about the way things have gone in Houston for him recently?
Well, I mean, the culture in Houston hasn't been a secret. If you followed any of the players who've played there and have moved on, I mean, they've been very vocal once they're outside of that situation about what goes on inside the four walls of the Houston organization. So it's not a surprise per se. I think for me, it's more of, if I were his team, I would have, pushed him to explore free agency. The culture has always been the culture down there. And it was after the Hopkins trade that he signed that extension. So I would have pushed more for an exploration of free agency, but that's neither here nor there. I think now, I mean, it's a lot of hearsay, a lot of conversation, a lot of sources. He has not come out and said, I don't want to be here. But, where there's smoke, there's fire. I think it's a very unfortunate situation because, yes, I know a lot of people feel like, well, why should he have a say in X, Y, and Z? He hasn't won a Super Bowl. He hasn't been to a championship. And on that side of the coin, I get it. You're not Tom Brady. You're not Aaron Rodgers. But when your franchise gives you their word that they're going to include you in conversations that go ahead and affect you for the long term, especially after you sign an extension, letting them know you want to be here, you would honor that that word, that conversation. You would expect them to honor it. Never said that he expected them to pick his, candidate for GM, head coach. He just wanted to be included. His voice wanted to be heard. And they basically dangled it, sure, we'll go ahead and listen to you, and then yanked it away. So now they're going ahead and doing all this damage control. But sometimes, just like in a relationship, when there's a lot of things that have piled up, I'm sorry doesn't feel the same after, the 200th time. I'm sorry loses its effect. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know if Houston doesn't want to trade him. They traded up for him. They gave away draft picks for him, and they don't have a lot of pieces to rebuild. And there's only a few teams that they'll be able to get a lot of bang for their buck if they did decide to, move him out of Houston. So only time's going to tell, but it's a messy situation. Yeah.
It is messy. And I've been saying that all week. It's communication usually that breaks down relationships. And they did not. I always lose my mind when these things happen, because I'm like, why would you promise something you don't have to promise?
Exactly.
And then don't even bother to do it. That's on you. That's just bad communication. And Deshaun has every right, on top of the fact that he's been dragging this organization and dealing with all this dysfunction and this weird, cult situation on top of it. And then you're promising things and then it doesn't matter. Don't ask for my opinion, then don't take it. And then come back and be like, no, we want your opinion. We didn't mean to upset you. I know we told you we were going to take your advice.
Yeah.
And if you're sorry has lost its potency.
Exactly. And if you're an organization who believes that you should only value the opinion of a quarterback who's brought you a lot of success, like a Tom Brady or an Aaron Rodgers, and that's how you want to run your organization, that's fine. No one's going to, knock you for it. A lot of the times, you don't see, bench players giving their candidacy picks for head coaches and things like that. LeBron gets it. He's a 4-time world champion. So if that's how you want to go ahead and run your organization, no one's going to knock you. But don't say something and then take it back and not do it. That's just what was the point? What did you give? What did you make me think that I was going to be part of something and I'm not really going to be a part of it? So I would be annoyed too. I would be extremely annoyed. And for Hopkins to be a 2, allegedly, that was a 2 on his anger level, and this be a 10, that just goes to show it's about a respect thing. It's more about a respect factor than it is about the current culture or the bad season that this team just came off of. So
that part though, because it is about respect. Because once you keep dealing with situation after situation after situation, and then you come to an agreement or a conclusion, and then they still don't do it, it's you actually don't respect me, because I'm with you. Most organizations don't solicit their quarterback or any players' thoughts or feelings about who the head coach is going to be. Maybe the coordinator position, if you're a star quarterback like Russell Wilson, I think should be involved, or at least his opinion should be involved in who the new OC is there. But yeah, you didn't have to promise this. So you just don't respect me at this point. You're just out here playing. I'm on his side 100%. I also really want him to go to the Dolphins. So I'm not going to lie, I'm a little biased.
Listen, there's a lot of talk that is his, if he were to be traded, and a lot of people saying, well, how can he be traded? He has a contract. The no trade clause basically works in his favor. He can go ahead and determine where he wants to go. And there's a lot of conversation. Miami's at the top of his list. He likes the culture. He's always, he's had success down here in Miami in the Orange Bowl in 2015. He has a history with Miami. And on top of that, there's no property tax down here. There's no, you know what I mean? You can go ahead and pocket a lot of that cash, just like you can in Texas. So, I know the Jets, are in the conversation allegedly, but New Jersey taxes are no joke. You don't want that smoke.
Yeah, I'm in California. I miss Florida taxes so much.
Listen.
The first time I got a check out here, I was like,
where's the rest of it? Where is the rest of it?
What is this? It's not a game. So I also want to talk to you about Carson Wentz. It's a very strange phenomenon. It's not really a phenomenon. It's just a thing that happens. And this is why I can't be in charge of nothing. God knows where to put you in life. I couldn't be a billionaire owner of an organization, because the first time the head coach and quarterback comes to me yeah, we don't get along, I'm like, honey, why is this my problem? Did the checks not go out this week? The checks went out, payroll went through, so you got your 12 million. Oh, okay. Did you get your 5 million? Yeah. Okay. Why do I care? Why do I care if you don't get along? Why is this my problem? Go see a therapist. You know what I'm saying? Meditate, do your breathing exercises. I don't care what you got to do. But now it's coming out that there's sources coming out of Philadelphia, which seems to be a complete disaster, by the way, which they've done a really good job. It seems like Peterson did a great job of keeping all of the dysfunction controlled. Now all the stories are coming out, and it's like Wentz doesn't want to be coached, and it becomes a pissing match between him and the head coach, and he doesn't want to be coached hard. I'm like, I'm good on Wentz. If I'm an Eagles fan, now Eagles fans are mad at me for saying that, but I'm like, you got Jalen Hurts, and this seems like a toxic situation, and Wentz needs an attitude adjustment. What do you think about what's going on in Philadelphia?
I'm with you. I'm good on Wentz, and I've actually been good on Wentz for a couple of seasons. And yes, I'm a Cowboys fan, so a lot of people are going to say, well, that's a biased conversation.
Okay, but hold on though. Before you continue, I have always been on Dak Prescott. Because Dak and Wentz are constantly compared to each other. And I've always been like, Dak is more durable. He is a better leader. He has been able to handle the media in Dallas, which I would compare to Philadelphia. I mean, obviously they're much more intense in Philadelphia, but like you don't get more coverage than the Dallas Cowboys. So I've always been on Dak Prescott when it comes to comparing them to. Continue.
No, facts. And I think it's always been an annoyance to me that, Carson Wentz gets credit for a Super Bowl he didn't play in. And that was kind of like, the checkmate whenever it was a Dak Prescott, Carson Wentz conversation comparison. I'm just like, let's not even go there, because you see what it is like when he actually plays a full season, he can't last. But that's neither here nor there. I think Carson Wentz has kind of just overstayed his welcome in Philly. And I think it would be a different conversation maybe if Jalen Hurts never really emerged and we never saw what he could do. But you have a quarterback who can run the ball. You have a young quarterback who obviously is going to be more durable, God willing. So why are you so hell-bent still on having Carson Wentz? I mean, if anything, I would be annoyed as the Eagles fan. I paid you all this money. I can't get much use out of you. You didn't even bring me a Super Bowl. And now you're telling me you don't want to be coached. You need to be coached. You're not Aaron Rodgers. Thank you.
Thank you.
You know what I mean? Like, you can't just be out there running plays yourself. Like, you're not that guy. And it just reminds me of when Peterson came out and said, he didn't like following directions from, the higher ups as a coach. Like, that's your job. What do you mean? Like, you guys think you're Phil Jackson and Kobe Bryant out there. You can't, no, you need to be coached. You're not that guy. Like, cut it out. So if I were Philly and I were the Eagles fan base, I would be like, listen, if Carson stays, he stays, but he better not be my starter. And if he goes, I'm good either way. I don't think it's a loss if he leaves. I really don't.
I think it would be good for everyone. It's a very toxic situation. I know that they essentially, by firing Peterson, said they want to stick with Wentz. And obviously they're paying Wentz. So maybe it's just too big of a pill for the owner and the GM to swallow to have to pay him and have that cap hit and not have him there. But I'm saying that's not how winning organizations are set up. I don't get it. I mean, I don't, well, look, we can't relate to just doing whatever we want.
Because everyone will be fired. Like, you don't want to be here, you can go. You don't want to follow directions, you can go too. Like, everybody can go. I will restart this organization every single season if I have to. Don't play with me.
Yeah. I know, but and that's not even really like what they should have done. Doug Peterson just won a Super Bowl. You just fired a Super Bowl winning coach. I don't know if y'all know this. You should, because it's the only Super Bowl you have in your organization's history. But those things are hard to come by. And you just fired the head coach because what? Because Wentz doesn't want to be coached. Everyone needs an attitude adjustment.
Everybody.
And let's just all take it down a couple notches. You should have won this division. You should have won this division, but this division was trash. This division was trash. How did you not even win this division?
On top of that, I was shocked they even fired him because they threw that last game against, that last game against the Washington football team was not an actual football performance. I'm not going to go out and say they went out and purposely threw the game. I'm just going to say that did not look like a football performance. And they still fired him.
I don't know who made that call, but it certainly wasn't the players who threw that, because they were pissed.
Yes. Rightfully so.
I don't know. It's a messy situation there. Finally, before I let you go, we probably watched Drew Brees' last game in the NFL. I know I was very sad. I actually really like Drew Brees. I know we had a little incident earlier in the year when he was talking about the flag, and I thought he handled that well and had conversations that he needed to have, which he should have had before, but that's neither here nor there. Other than that, he's been an incredible ambassador for that city, for that community and had an unbelievable career. What do you think of Drew Brees' career, assuming that he is going to retire?
I mean, I'm sad he couldn't get one more trip to the promised land. I really wanted it for him, and I wanted it bad. I mean, and it's sad too, because if that were his last time in the Superdome and it's half empty like that, knowing the energy of New Orleans, and we've talked about this, New Orleans is one of our favorite cities, and anyone who's never been does not know the vibe of New Orleans.
No, it's the best.
It is like one of the greatest places in this country, and for him to have his final hurrah, if it is his final hurrah at the Superdome, knowing what it is like during a championship or playoff level Saints game, and for it to look like that would break my heart. But I mean, Father Time's undefeated. So I don't know. I don't know if he does come back. I don't know if the Saints can go ahead and make it to the Super Bowl again. It's getting harder and harder every single year. I mean, he did not look like himself out there towards the end of that game. I mean, 3 interceptions was just unlike Drew Brees. If you go back like 5-6 years ago, that was unheard of. So I'm a fan of guys leaving on top. And this isn't the on top that I would have wanted, but I'm afraid if he comes back, he's going to be leaving at an even lower level. So I don't know. I'm torn. I need to see Brees one more time, but I'm just like, I don't know what to do. Yeah,
I'm with you. I hadn't thought about that. I felt like this was the last hurrah for the Saints, the way they are currently set up. They're going to be way over the cap. They went all in with Brees this year. And I actually picked them to get to the Super Bowl this year because of that. So I'm with you. If they run it back another year, he obviously he looked old in this game, if we're being honest. He's going to look older and everyone else is getting younger and better. So it could look a lot more messy than it did in that last game. But yeah, it was sad. And it was like a moment where he's walking off and you could see him like turn around one more time. And I was like, oh.
And did you see the video of him and his wife like embracing on the field and his kid? And I'm just like, don't do this to me, Drew.
I know. Because we all had that moment, like, my mother moved out of not our childhood home, but like the house I like lived my last 2 years of high school, and she lived in for like the last 20 years or whatever. And she moved out of it. So, you have that moment where you just kind of like look back one more time, just like take it in for a second, before you walk out the door, you leaving someone, you're like, you take like one more little pause and you can see it in his eye.
One deep breath and just absorb all the energy from the space. It was the saddest thing I've ever seen. And you could see he was tearing up. Like there's a picture of him and all the media surrounding him. And he has his helmet off and he's just like, you just see it in his face that this might be it. And it's not the way I wanted to see it. It's not how it was supposed to go in my head. It was a totally different outcome the way I envisioned it the beginning of the season.
I could have handled him losing in the Super Bowl.
Oh, absolutely.
I would have liked to see him get there one more time. But yeah, it was not the ending we wanted, but he had an incredible career. He left it all on the field. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. You can check out ASHLEY Nicole Moss, iHeartRadio and Knicks Fan TV, and follow her on social media at, I want to make sure I get this right, ASHLEY Nicole Moss. And she's amazing, obviously, and one of my favorite follows, and amazing on the NBA as well. And I don't know how you became a Cowboy fan. I don't mind Cowboy fans. My mother's a Cowboy fan inexplicably from Pittsburgh, so I get it.
That's doing. Listen, the Cowboys ran so here I am.
Well, thanks so much, Ash. Stay safe. Really appreciate you coming on with us today.
Of course. Thank you.
With it. With it. What? With it. We about to turn up in this bitch.
What's up, Heller? What am I winning or quitting this week?
What's up, Joy? Probably going to be some football stuff because it's championship weekend coming up. Am I right? Hey.
Very excited.
Yep. I mean, it's going to be tough to top 12 straight hours of football like last weekend, but I'm sure they'll find a way. Okay. Like I said, it's championship weekend, Joy. We're very excited. We'll get things started with the conference that is broadcast the second best, the AFC. Assuming Patrick Mahomes can go after that nasty neck crank knocked him out of the divisional round, this matchup is a slobber knocker. The two most electric arms in the game face off as Josh Allen and the Bills take aim at Arrowhead. Joy, the Chiefs aren't going to back-to-back Super Bowls. Wit it or quit it.
Quit it. They are going to back-to-back Super Bowls. I do think that Mahomes will play. I'm not a doctor. I don't have any firsthand knowledge of his injury, and I don't know but watching TV like everyone else,
Yep.
it looked like he was choked out. And Jay Glazer made a great point on the herd today. Someone who does these things because he practices MMA.
Yep.
You can choke someone out in like 2 seconds if you get the right vein, which I haven't been able to find yet, but which I guess
Hopefully you don't.
You can choke someone out pretty quickly, and that man had his whole fist in Mahomes' neck. So I don't know that it was necessarily a concussion in so much as they were putting him through concussion
Right.
protocol, which they should have done. So if
Yep.
it was in fact that, because he didn't hit his head, so if it was in fact that he was just choked out, then he will be fine to play on Sunday. And even if he wasn't, it's a full week, and you usually go through concussion protocol, unless it's a really brutal concussion protocol, you're usually cleared within a week to come back and play.
Right.
So I think he will be out there. But even if he's not, I'm still going with the Chiefs, to be honest with you. I know it's crazy.
Anything is possible.
I think anything is possible. And the Chiefs, man, I mean, Mahomes was hobbled, and he's still going to be hobbled. Like, he has a toe injury. Like, it's not a small thing. He really looked like he was in a lot of pain before that happened. So he's not at 100%. I really think that the Chiefs are going to win this game. I don't think that it's going to be a blowout. I think the Bills are going to have a good performance, but the Chiefs are just a machine. And Andy Reid is coaching unconscious. I mean, who calls that play for
That was sick.
I mean, my God, the gonads to do that.
That was sick.
Is amazing. So I'm going to go with Andy Reid in this spot. The Bills have had a great season. Really impressed with Bills fans. I thought it was really cool what they did, donating all that money to
Really cool.
Lamar Jackson,
yeah.
All the money that they donated to the hospital in Josh Allen's mom's name. They're just very supportive. They deserve to be here. They've had an incredible season. I just think that the Chiefs have done this before, and they're just going to go back to the Super Bowl. They were my pick before the playoffs started, and I'm going to stick with it. So I think that they go to the Super Bowl. I think they win this game and go to the Super Bowl.
I had the Bills, so I'm going to stick with them, of course. You made some good points, though, and I really kind of just want some Hennessy, if I'm being honest, after hearing anything is possible. I have some also within eyesight of where
some Hennessy
mine's right over there, actually right over there. But the thing that I think is most interesting about this game, and I'm assuming Patrick Mahomes plays because that's how God would want it if such person or entity existed. But the Bills are trying to announce themselves as for real, whereas like the Chiefs are trying to proclaim themselves as a dynasty moving forward. So I just think it's a really interesting dynamic between these two incredible young quarterbacks and these young teams that are very exciting. So I think we have a lot to look forward to. And the only thing though, let's say the Bills beat them, right? Go on, win the title. Now they're vying for the top of the AFC moving forward. That makes one of them Tom Brady, the other one of them Peyton Manning, and that makes Lamar Jackson Phillip Rivers. So that's not a sight that we want, but a sight that I would want to see is the Bills in the final game.
I wouldn't hate it, but I think the Chiefs are going to win.
Good deal. All right, so now to the NFC, where age ain't nothing but a number, Joy. The AFC has the young guns. The NFC definitely has the old dogs. But both of them old dogs can still hunt. Brady's Bucks just exercised their demons, beating the Saints the third time around. Rodgers' Packers look to avenge their 38-10 Week 6 loss to Tom's Pewter Pirates. Joy, the Packers ruin Tampa's plans for a Super Bowl home game. Wit it or quit it?
Wit it. I think the Packers win this game. I thought that the Bucks were going to beat the Saints, so I wasn't horribly surprised at that outcome.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, I mean, the Packers are they're the one team in the championship weekend that everything is just clicking and smooth.
All cylinders.
We love all the cliches around here, but that's just the truth. They look incredible. Aaron Rodgers looks amazing. Their offense is running amazing. Their defense is not having an issue. I just trust what the Packers are doing. Like the Bucks have been playing great, but they have some vulnerabilities, and it's Lambeau. It's likely going to be snowing. We know it's going to be cold. And Tom Brady, he's a Floridian now.
He's a Califloridian now. He only remembers being a kid out here and now living in Tampa Bay and being tan as hell. So
and listen, your blood thins quickly.
Your skin too, I think. Yep.
I can tell you from experience, you get used to that heat real quick. One good summer in that humidity, and you'll forget all about those freezing cold winters in New England.
Yeah, getting ice off your windshield.
Yeah, it's a different. Well, I'm pretty sure you have a garage, but still, it's a different lifestyle. So I'm gonna go with the Packers in this game. I can't believe we get to have this game. Like I can't believe we have Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady in the NFC Championship game. Unbelievable. This is definitely a game we're gonna be talking about for the rest of our sports lives. So I'm really looking forward to this the most. This might be Brady's last year or second to last year, so we may never see this again. And it's really historic. Like Mahomes, Allen feels like we're gonna see that a few more times.
Right. That's round 1. This is round 12 for these guys.
Round 12. Oh, wow, that's what you did there.
I'm
really, really, really looking forward to it. And I think the Packers win because they have the better team. And they have the better quarterback right now, even though Tom Brady is playing amazing. But it's a very as far as the coaching goes, like LaFleur's been in the NFC Championship game, but it's not like he has Super Bowl pedigree. Bruce Arians, head coach, like this is a unique spot for him.
That's a good point.
As far as that goes, pretty equally matched when you look at it. I mean, Bruce Arians obviously has Super Bowls as an assistant, but I think the Packers win this game, but I cannot wait to see what happens.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing. I've managed to twist this into another big win for the Bay Area. You've got Tampa Bay, Green Bay. So it's just a big Bay game. And then much more legitimately than that, we've got 2 of the best quarterbacks to come from the Bay Area ever. So Rodgers is from up there. Brady's from up there. Those are my guys. Hella. I see the sign behind you that is awesome from Brian Flores. It says there's joy in hard work. And I've really felt from Aaron Rodgers these last couple weeks that there's joy in whooping that ass. Like he is having so much fun out there. He's not just serving these dudes and being humble about it anymore. He's smiling in their face. I heard he likes to have mundane conversations with dudes while he's just running around the field. And, it's going to be cold. So his mobility could be the difference. Like that touchdown that he scored last week where he just went like this with the ball and everyone jumped out of his way and then he walked into the end zone. Like I think we're going to see more of that, and that could be a deciding factor in we're hoping for snow, right? We want this to be snow, right?
I really don't want snow.
What? He was diming it anyway. It's fine.
Big snow person. It's cute. Everyone gets all excited. Football weather. No, it's not football weather. It's not fun. It's only valuable to the home team. I want to see the best football. I don't want everyone out there freezing and
okay.
No, I don't want.
Listen, you have every right to Scrooge it up about the snow. But one thing I've learned lately, working with Marcellus, who is a all-world defensive end like your brother, it's harder to play defense in the snow because you can't, the offense knows where they're going, and so they just have to make a cut where they don't fall down, and then the defense is slower to react. So Rodgers was proof of that the other couple weeks back, I think, when he was just diming it up in the snow. So I think it could both be snowy and it could be an offensive explosion, and that's what I'm rooting for.
I just want the best football.
I just told you what the best possible football was.
It's not good for the defense either.
You want the best possible football is not the best possible defense, Joy.
I want the best game. If the snow helps that, fine, but I don't really believe that it does. But I'm looking forward to it either way. Hey, Donnie. How you doing?
I'm hanging in there. I'm all right. The Lions are being the Lions. I'm okay though. I'm okay.
Well, I mean, the good news is that you guys are going to be super motivated.
Yeah, right. That's the good news. I mean,
you're not going to have walls in the facility because everyone's going to have ran through them. But
right, great speeches though. We'll have some great halftime speeches, after we're down 35-10, and yo, go get them, guys, and then we'll have a comeback. that will ultimately fall short, which is how we normally do things.
So pretty normal. Yeah. If you don't know what we're talking about, the Lions inexplicably are planning on hiring Dan Campbell, who can't get hired as an offensive coordinator, or you can't get hired as a coordinator at all. But
motivational speaker, head coach / head coach.
I don't get it. I mean, I know of this person because of Miami, and he came in as the interim coach after Joe Philbin was fired, and everyone fell in love with him in like 3 seconds.
Good press conferences.
Obviously. I mean, he's got the tight shirt going.
Yeah. It's got the neck and the shoulders. Yeah.
That like thing they do where they tuck. I don't know how they do it. They like tuck the shirt like this.
Yeah, look extra beefy. Beef up the beefiness. He does that.
I don't get it. It's a very Detroit hire. I'm very sorry about it.
We'll see. I mean, I feel like his coordinator positions, who he picks as his coordinators, will be that'll be the ultimate deciding factor for me. So I'm disappointed, but I'm still waiting to see, because Jim Caldwell, he's still out there. So offensive coordinator, it's still, there's a chance. Bring him back, my man Caldwell.
Well, what's going on in high key, low key this week?
All right, high key, it's pretty much safe to say that the AFC North was the best division in football. You had 3 of the 4 teams making the playoffs this year. Low key, it was the team in Cleveland that ended up being the last team standing before ultimately losing to the defending champs. Joy, the future of the Browns, is it a bright one?
I think it is, actually. I think very, very early next season predictions. So I have lots of time to change my mind, but I think the Browns could win the division next year.
Okay.
The Ravens obviously are going to be making a lot of adjustments. Look, Lamar Jackson is still great. He's going to continue to be great, but they got to get over this playoff hump. I understand he was injured, but the score was 3-3 at halftime. So they've got to. I mean, he got his playoff win, so that's done. Now we've got to get better.
That next step,
and I think they will. The Steelers have Big Ben and a lot of dysfunction as far as on the field. Off the field, not so much, but you got to figure out how to put all this together. The Bengals are going to be better. Burrow's going to be back, but there's a lot of questions in this division, despite the fact that it is the most competitive division in football. 3 teams in the playoffs this year for the AFC North. So I think it's totally winnable division for the Browns. They finally have a culture. They're going to stick with Baker, as they should. He's done enough to show that he can run this team and run this offense. Kevin Stefanski finally come in and set up a culture and a standard there in Cleveland, and they have an identity. I love it. I don't like duds. I don't like Cleveland, but I don't like duds more than I don't like Cleveland. It's the worst to have, no offense, the Lions on your schedule, or the Jags, or the Browns, and you're just going down the win-loss, and you're like, ugh, this team, And then it becomes like they get the freakish win on you somehow, and then that's annoying. Nobody wants that. Just be a competitive team.
Consistency.
Go out there and play good football. It's so much nicer to watch good competitive football than it is to watch a trash team get rolled every single week. Jets was unwatchable this year. Texans, for the most part, other than Deshaun Watson, unwatchable. Nobody wants that. So I'm really glad they finally have an identity. I'm glad that they put it all together, and I think that they could win this division very easily next year.
Nice. So I'm assuming this changes your former position, or possibly former position, on OBJ staying in Cleveland. Do you think that's the move now?
No, I think OBJ is out of Cleveland, but that is not a reflection of a failure on OBJ or on Baker. Odell just never fit with Cleveland.
Yeah.
It never was going to work. I hated it from the beginning. I thought it just wasn't a good mix. Odell needs somewhere where he can shine. That's not Cleveland. It's not Cleveland. And they did better without him out there, because Baker felt the need to force it to him. And that doesn't mean that Odell's washed. It doesn't mean that Baker's bad. It just wasn't a good chemistry fit on the field. Maybe they love each other, who knows? But on the field, it didn't work. The numbers reflect that. So I think Odell will end up somewhere else. He'll be traded, and it'll be a better situation for everyone.
Yeah, everybody wins. That sounds nice. Yes. All right. High key, the Rams fell short Sunday against the Packers, due in part to Jared Goff's thump, or his lack of thump. Low key, with Sean McVay saying Goff is the team's quarterback right now, and that things are being evaluated, have we seen the last of Goff in the blue and yellow horned helmet?
Rams up.
Rams up.
I don't think so. I think Goff's going to be back. There's a report today that they need a little relationship work, Sean McVay and Goff. I think Goff lost a little bit of his
mojo.
Zip, his mojo, his thing. Yeah. And a lot of people have doubted Goff throughout his career. Remember, his first year was a bust. Yeah. And then Sean McVay turned it around, and then they were in a Super Bowl. I still think that the Rams have a Super Bowl capabilities. They need an over-the-top receiver. They need someone who can open the field up. We know Goff has a big arm. It's not like he's incapable of getting those big chunk plays, but it just feels very mechanical. It feels like they're relying a lot on Akers. And it feels like Goff has lost his mojo. I understand he was hurt at the end of the season in the playoffs. Yeah. His thumb was like this, and like that doesn't work. That's very difficult. It's very painful, I'm sure, to play through as well. While we're just generalizing what happens, like he is out there playing in pain on top of being, really feeling like very lost. Yeah. So I think that they're going to get together this offseason and make some adjustments, but he's too expensive really to move off of. And I think that he deserves another year with the Rams to kind of sort things out and see where they can go. And they're not going to get a high enough pick or make a trade anyway. So gotta make it work. And I don't want to hear about Wolford either. Please stop.
The Wolford train, you're not hopping on? Choo choo.
Backup, that's what backups are supposed to do. This always happens to backup quarterbacks. A backup quarterback comes in and wins a game, or comes in and does something different than the starting quarterback does. So then all of a sudden it's like, oh, why is he playing? Why is he playing? Because he's a backup quarterback. Let him go out there and do that for 5, 6, 7 games, and you will be reminded why he is the backup and not the starter. Calm down. Jared Goff is the starter, and I think he will be next year. If it looks anything similar to what it was this year, then I think it's going to be a problem, and they'll move off of him. But I think he deserves another year.
That's real. You took him to the Super Bowl. All right, high key, the saga in Houston is over. Not for Deshaun, though. We're still figuring that out. I'm talking about James Harden. Yeah, the beard is in Brooklyn, and he'll have access to the finest beard care products with all those gentrifying hipsters. Maybe even add a curly, twisty mustache. I don't know. Low key, with 2 games under his belt, he and Katie look like they played together already. Weird.
They do.
Joy, will the eventual comeback of KYRIE throw a wrench in this chemistry?
Well, as Ashley said, we're going to find out on Wednesday, at least the first grouping of them together. I got a kind of funny feeling it will. I didn't love the way that Harden, I hated the way that Harden left Houston. I am not the biggest fan of Houston and what that organization did. I didn't really love D'Antoni for being there that long. But they did try, and they did get him players, and they did reportedly do everything he asked. So I can't really be that mad at the organization. So I didn't love the way he exited there. I didn't like the way he was behaving, going to parties, and that's really nonsense. But reckless. He's in Brooklyn now, and he has slid right in and looks right back to true form. And to, the question that he was asked before, they were boys when they were playing with the Thunder, and they're grown men now. I believe Taylor Rooks asked him that, and that's what he said after the game. And he's right. They are completely different players now than they were before. I mean, Durant has championships and finals MVPs. Harden is an MVP and just scoring champ multiple times. And he's been the number one guy on an organization for several years. So there are 2 different players now. The question with KYRIE to me is, are you going to be able to play a role? Because that is just what's necessary. Anytime you look at a team that had success with 3 stars, somebody has to take a little bit of a backseat. We know that's not going to be KD. And let's be honest, it's not going to be Harden. So who is it going to be? And KYRIE doesn't actually even really play the position to take a role like that. So it's very weird. He's a little bit of a liability defensively. Pretty much the whole team is not really built around defense, as we know, but it's just it's a very weird chemistry experiment. I hope it works. I'm certainly going to watch and see if it works. If it doesn't work, though, I don't think that there's really anything wrong with Brooklyn moving off of KYRIE. I don't love the way that KYRIE's behaved over the past week. I think I like KYRIE overall. I think he's a good dude. I don't call me old school. I feel like you should call your boss if you're going to miss work.
Yeah, that's called a professional way of handling
I think it's professional. We all can go through things. We all have stuff that we have to deal with. Kyrie's not special.
Right.
Like he's not unique in that sense. We all have families, birthday parties we want to go to. We all have stuff going on. We just let the people know we got to know what we're doing. And when we're working, I can't skip work to go to a birthday party. I can't do that. I can't do that.
That's how jobs have always worked. That's just how it is.
Always how they've worked. It's worked that way. It works that way for a reason. So that makes me question, is he going to be able to play a role? And every night in and night out, that might not be the case. Yeah. But when you get down to the playoffs, when you get to those crunch time situations, KD's the one taking that shot, period. I know you had a shot with LeBron, but KD's the one taking that shot now. And are you going to be able to play that position and ride those ebbs and flows throughout the season? I think of someone like Chris Bosh or Kevin Love or Draymond Green. Obviously, each of those players are very different from Kyrie and Kyrie from them. But the point is, those are the third guy.
Right.
And then when KD went to Golden State, Draymond became the fourth guy,
Willingly.
So you have to be able to be flexible when you have that many stars on a team. And then everyone else on the court and everyone else on that squad has to also completely buy into what their role is if they're going to be successful. And when they get to the finals, they're likely going to be meeting the Lakers, who just did this in the bubble. And we know their chemistry is fine. I don't care about them losing to the Warriors. This is a regular season game. It was a fun game, but I don't think that's a reflection of who they are as a team. So it's going to be a tall task to put it all together. I just can't wait to see it.
Things are only going to get more interesting from here. I think that's a fact. And I'm excited to see it play out. What's going to happen? I don't know. All right. High key, as it stands, the Eagles are a team with a head coaching vacancy and a little bit of a quarterback controversy. Less than ideal. Low key, with management telling coaching candidates that they believe Carson is fixable, is that a challenge that a prospective coach even wants to take on?
I mean, yes, I guess if you're a coach that, your whole goal right now is to become a head coach, sure.
Yeah.
It's a risky prospect, though. I don't love it. I thought initially this is a really good job. And then every single day since Peterson's been fired, it's progressively gotten crazier and crazier. There's new stories all the time. And now the most recent story is that Carson doesn't like to be coached, and he gets into a pissing match with his coaches. He doesn't like to be called out. He changes plays if he doesn't like them. Like, sir.
Yeah. Who are you?
You are not Aaron Rodgers. Calm down.
Yeah.
All the way. So, I've, as I told Ashley earlier, I've always been on Dak Prescott over Carson Wentz. And for the longest, everyone told me I was crazy, but, I'm like, he did have that. I feel like that stretch of that Super Bowl year, the 11 games that he played, made everyone freak out that he was in the MVP conversation and he's so much better than Dak. And he's living off of that stretch.
Yeah.
This was some all-time unbelievable statistical stretch for someone playing that position. And it really wasn't. And Nick Foles was the one who went through and won the Super Bowl. That's why he has the statue. So I'm just trying to figure out, who is Carson Wentz that it's even available to you to not be coached? Even Tom Brady wants to be coached. Aaron Rodgers wants to be coached. Drew Brees wants to be coached. Russell Wilson is demanding that he be a part of the next guy that's going to coach him in that hire. Who are you? Who are you? Mr. Millennial? Sit down somewhere. I don't care. Doug Peterson played quarterback in this league. He is the one that just coached the team to the Super Bowl. Have some respect. You can speak up if you don't agree with something, but there's times in life you're not playing well.
Right.
So obviously there's something that needs to be done here. He got benched and no one was screaming.
Yeah, that's a smart move.
For you to sit there and be and listen, it's just a report, but there's enough going on in Philadelphia that something was wrong. We knew that they didn't have a good relationship. Yep. And I don't agree with Peterson benching Jalen Hurts, but this is a whole kind of situation there. And I just wanted to look at that stretch of games because we're always talking about Wentz in that way. So I wanted to go back and look, because Carson Wentz essentially lives off of that 11-game stretch of the 2018 Super Bowl season and his numbers, right? Let's just compare that Yeah. Let's compare that stretch to Dak Prescott's rookie season. Carson Wentz, 279 completions to Dak Prescott's 311. Okay. 279 to 401. Dak Prescott, 311 to 459. So Carson Wentz had a slightly better completion percentage, less yards than Dak, obviously played fewer games. 21 touchdowns and 7 interceptions did Carson Wentz got sacked 31 times and had a rating of 102.2. Dak Prescott finished his rookie season with a rating of 104.9. What is this like? What is this fairy tale that we live in with Carson Wentz, where he set these all-time, he had like a Joe Burrow season. Like he had a good season for 11 games, and then he got injured, and then Nick Foles came in and finished the season and won the Super Bowl. So let's stop acting like Carson Wentz is this individual that is beyond reproach. I don't think his career is over. I don't think that he shouldn't play quarterback in this league anymore. I don't think it will work in Philadelphia. And I think I don't want to hear that you can't be coached. You've done nothing in this league. You've done nothing that should even be a story that possibly gets out. Yeah.
It's no surprise that this and the Houston job are like the two last remaining jobs. It's just like, who wants to jump into that fire pit? Because, I mean, there are just like red flags being waved everywhere in Houston and Philadelphia right now.
It's toxic, guys. It's toxic, sis. Leave it.
Don't touch it.
Yeah, well, they're not hiring women anyway, but
that's not an option.
Hey T, what's going on in the Culture Report this week?
Hey Joy. So one of our shows that we love is coming to an end. Insecure will end after season 5. Issa confirmed it. And obviously this show had a good run. And I am sad. I started thinking like this could be perfect because it's like, it's not too short, but it's not too long. I mean, obviously, like I hope that the last season will just do it justice. And it ends on a high note, like Molly getting it together, her and Asian Bay or Andrew happy and in love. I am hoping that maybe another guy will kind of come in the picture and he may possibly be the baby father, but that's wishful thinking. Definitely the state of Issa and Lawrence. I want them to be together, but at this rate, I'm okay with her just finding like love and thriving in her career. Like, I just don't want to be stressed out. So I just want my happy ending with Issa.
Yeah, I'm very sad. I also wonder if it has anything to do like with COVID, because that it's the last season, because it's like, it's LA and obviously it's a fictional show, but LA is not really LA right now. So, but I love Issa. We love the show, obviously. So I'm disappointed that it's not going to be more seasons, but sometimes less is more. I'm watching Issa's masterclass right now, which is great. I highly recommend it, by the way. I'm watching Issa's and Neil deGrasse Tyson. So y'all can't tell me anything because I'm super smart. But I'm very excited for the final season. I'm with you. I actually want to see Issa thriving in her career without a man. I think that and just letting that be the storyline, because obviously Lawrence has been such a big part of, and the relationships are like a part of the whole show. Like that's what it is, obviously. But I would be interested to see that. I also am like dying to find out what's going on with this child. It's very upsetting. Lawrence, we were all rooting for you. We were rooting for you. So upsetting.
Like, don't let us down. Oh gosh, that is stressful.
I know it is stressful, but I love the show. It was a legendary show. I can't wait to see what she does next, because obviously she is not done. So everything she touches is amazing. So I'm looking forward to what she does bring for us next. But it's bittersweet, like you said. Like it's such a great show. You don't want it to go on for so long that it then becomes like monotonous or weird. So you want to end things before it gets to that point. But it's also disappointing when your favorite show leaves. So, but I can't wait to see what happens.
Someone said that Condola getting pregnant, Issa's taking that out on the fans. Like, that's why the show's ending. And I just thought it was the funniest thing. And I'm like, no, but I think, like you said, it could be because of COVID. I mean, who really knows? But either way, the show had a good run.
Yes, it was great.
So many people have been affected by the coronavirus, as we all know, because people are being responsible. I mean, Joy, it doesn't matter if you've been tested a billion times, doesn't matter if you wear a mask. Gathering in large groups is always a bad idea because it's how COVID is spread. So Bow Wow, like, I'm so confused. Like, why are you throwing a party like at the club during a pandemic? And I mean, I feel like there's I don't know if people think that they're the exception and that they can't get the virus. I'm not really sure what's going on there, but no, like anyone can get it. I'm definitely happy that the party was shut down because this obviously isn't responsible. It's like people just need to be considerate and stay home and not throw parties in the middle of a pandemic.
Yeah, I mean, look, everyone is dealing with this differently. And, there's people who are having like small weddings and everyone's getting tested and quarantining before. And, people having small family get-togethers and things like that. And like, overall, I'm not out here to be the morality police because we've been dealing with this for almost a year now. The shutdown, well, longer than a year, the world's been dealing with it because, again, it's a global pandemic. But here in the States, obviously the shutdown was in March and we are mid-January. So it's been almost a year that we've been dealing with it here. So people are fatigued and people are, unhappy and they want a release and they want things to be back to normal. And I totally get that. I'm not here to, judge everyone. It is real. You do need to get a vaccine unless your doctor tells you not to. And we need to be responsible for each other. But mostly like big, massive parties at clubs are probably not a good idea. There's things I miss. I miss going to dinners. I miss being able to walk outside of my house without raging anxiety. There's things I miss, but the club is just not one of them. I've been to the club a bajillion times, way more times than the average person, I'm sure of it. And, it's pretty much the same thing every time. Someone's gonna step on your foot. You're gonna spend way too much money. There's gonna be people talking to you that you don't really want to talk to. You're going to make some bad decisions, then you're going to go home, or you're going to go continue to make bad decisions afterwards. That's just kind of how it goes there. I signed up the club night for you. Like the club is not the thing that I miss. It's just
brunch. I miss brunch. Like
miss brunch. I miss
like the club. Y'all can have a club. I just miss brunch. I want a mimosa.
Brunch so much. I miss brunch. Oh, I miss brunch.
Oh God. Like a dart in the heart when I say that. I'm like, ugh.
And the rest of the country has no idea what we're talking about because we don't have brunch in LA. That's it. Everywhere else is brunch, but we also have the worst numbers in the entire world. So brunch is not coming back anytime soon.
So the past 4 years, Joy, have been super dreadful. But now it's coming to an end. I feel like we can celebrate. And I was skeptical about celebrating because I was afraid that some BS would happen the day of inauguration because this country, I mean, nothing would surprise me. But the fact that it's virtual, I'm like, okay, like this, we actually could celebrate a little early and just be happy that this is like technically Tuesday, the last day that Trump's in office. But you know what? I don't know. I feel like I just don't trust people in this country to behave. I'm really excited to see, Biden and Harris get sworn in. And I'm definitely hopeful to get back to some sort of normalcy soon, like, brunch and things like that, seeing family and friends. But one can only hope that Trump just kind of takes the L and leave, the shenanigans just come to an end. But nevertheless, I will be mildly celebrating in my house all week that this man is finally officially out of office.
Get out of our lives. Oh my God. What it's like, it was like all of us being in the same toxic relationship for 4 years, but we got kids, so we really can't leave, but now the kid has graduated, so we are fucking leaving. That's what's happening right now. I can't imagine what the conversations we're going to have when we're old about these 4 years. Like, because we're living in times where people, even though they try, can't lie about what actually happened because we have video and we have the pictures and we have the Zooms and we have everything. Everything is documented with the tweets, right? We have everything documented about how this went. So like, there's no way to whitewash this time into it being like anything other than it was. I can't even think about the inauguration because I'm so nervous after what happened at the Capitol. I'm like, can you guys just roll in there, like do the little thing with the Bible and say your little thing, and then, you know, let's just get it pushing. We don't need to waste no more time. I really don't need to hear J-Lo sing, to be honest with you. I don't need Lady Gaga. I don't even need all that. I really don't. I just get it done so we can just like get to cracking, because you got a lot of work to do, Joe. You're gonna be a busy man, okay? Let's get started with getting these checks out, okay? That's number one, all right? And then let's get this vaccine situation fixed. That's number two. You got a lot of work to do. You got a lot of work to do. This man done up this whole situation really bad. So I'm really not that excited about it. Like I thought I would be more happy, and it's like I'm exhausted, you know? Whereas like the Obama inauguration was like this celebration of achievement and like power and equality and like momentous. This is like, okay, like let's like get the sign in. You see the thing? You said the things, pledge of allegiance, whatever you're gonna do. Cool. We got it written down. Go get to work. Because you guys to do. We got to do. We don't need to be wasting all this time with all this pomp and circumstance. And I'm nervous. Like these people are really crazy. When you have to vet the National Guard, we have a problem. That's what's called an institutional problem.
The fact that you said that, well, first of all, I feel like the history books are going to be like insane. Like just imagine like 50, 100 years from now when people are looking back on this time, like they're just going to be like, wait, what? Like that's just going to be crazy within itself.
Like who told this orange man he could be president?
And then after a toxic relationship, what usually happens when the person leaves? It's like a sigh of relief. So I understand you not want to celebrate. You're probably just trying to take it all in, like, oh my gosh, this is like really happening. He's really gone. Let me just appreciate.
I mean, he ain't gone yet. He said he's not leaving until 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. So 8 a.m. tomorrow morning, I better wake up. I'm gonna be asleep. It's the West Coast, so I better wake up to a Trump-free White House, and then you better light so much sage. I'm talking about you better walk through with a bush like. Just bush is bumping into walls. There's ash on the ground. Clean that out. Thanks so much for joining us this week, guys. Appreciate it. Hope you are safe and doing well. Thanks for checking us out. Make sure you subscribe. Check us out on social media at Maybe I'm Crazy Pod, myself, Joy Taylor Talks, and you can listen to our podcast anywhere you listen to podcasts: Spotify, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, and Apple Podcasts. Stay safe, and we'll catch you next week.
Maybe I'm crazy, maybe I'm not.